The older I get, the more I realize your standards decide your future. Every time you let something slide just this once, you train yourself to accept less. That's how goals erode. That's how principles slip. Set your standards. Hold the line, especially when it's hard. This realization, which often arrives not with a bang but with the quiet, cumulative weight of years, is one of the most profound truths we can encounter. It is the understanding that our lives are not shaped by our grandest declarations or our most fervent New Year's resolutions, but by the silent daily contract we negotiate with ourselves in 1,000 mundane moments. It is in the sigh of resignation when we choose the easy wrong over the difficult right, in the subtle negotiation we conduct with our own integrity when no one is watching. This is the bedrock upon which destinies are built or crumbled. The standard you set for yourself is the foundational architecture of your life. It is the plumb line against which every decision, every action, and every relationship will be measured, whether you consciously acknowledge it or not. From a psychological standpoint, this is the machinery of self-concept and cognitive dissonance in action. Your brain is not a dispassionate computer. It is a meaning-making machine, constantly seeking coherence between your beliefs about who you are and the evidence of your actions. When you declare, "I am a person of discipline," but then hit the snooze button for the third time, a small but significant crack appears. To resolve the discomfort of this inconsistency, the psyche has two choices. It can either rise to meet the declared standard, or more commonly, it can lower the standard to align with the behavior. You begin to subtly redefine discipline to include getting up eventually. This is the insidious process of erosion. Each "just this once" is not an isolated incident. It is a vote in the ongoing election for your identity. You are quite literally practicing a version of yourself. You are rehearsing the lines and the mannerisms of someone who accepts mediocrity, who negotiates with their own goals, and who believes that exceptions are the rule. The neural pathways that facilitate excuse-making are strengthened, while those that fuel resolve are left to atrophy. You are not failing to reach your standard. You are diligently, painstakingly building a new, lower one. Consider the practical domains of a life. In your profession, your standard is not defined by the project you present to the board after months of preparation. It is defined by the email you draft at 4:45 p.m. on a Friday. Do you send the hurried, good enough version, or do you take the extra 10 minutes to make it clear, concise, and impeccable? It is in the preparation you do for a meeting you know will be contentious, or the courage you muster to voice an unpopular but necessary opinion. The world is filled with talented people who never quite became successful, not for a lack of opportunity, but for a surplus of "just this once." They delivered the report that was almost right. They showed up for the presentation almost prepared. They treated a client with almost enough respect. Over time, this almost becomes their brand. Their future contracts, their promotions, their professional reputation, all of it is decided by this silent, cumulative standard they have trained themselves and others to accept. In matters of health, the same law governs with unyielding authority. The standard is not set on the day you buy the gym membership or embark on a radical new diet. It is set in the grocery store aisle, when you choose between the whole foods and the processed convenience. It is set on the couch when you decide between one more episode and a full night's rest. It is set in the moment of stress when you choose a walk over a glass of wine. Every time you honor the commitment to your physical well-being, you reinforce the identity of someone who values their vessel. Every time you break it just this once, you reinforce the narrative that your comfort in this moment is more important than your vitality in the years to come. The body, in its miraculous wisdom, responds not to your intentions, but to your consistent actions. Your future energy, resilience, and health are simply the compound interest earned on the daily deposits of your standards, and in the delicate, vital realm of relationships, your standards are everything. They are the invisible boundaries that teach people how to love you, respect you, and be with you. A standard for communication, that you will speak with kindness even in conflict and expect the same in return, is not built in a single dramatic confrontation. It is built in the small choice not to engage in gossip, not to resort to a sarcastic jab, not to let a misunderstanding fester for another day. When you allow a friend to consistently cancel plans at the last minute, just this once, you are not being easygoing. You are training them, that your time is not valuable. When you tolerate a partner's emotional unavailability just this once, you are erecting a standard that says your emotional needs are negotiable. The future of your relationships is not a mystery. It is a predictable outcome of the standards you are willing to defend, silently and consistently. Through your actions and your dignified acceptance, or lack thereof, holding the line, however, is where the metal meets the soul. It is rarely a dramatic cinematic stand. More often, it is a quiet, lonely, and profoundly unglamorous act of interior fortitude. It is the fatigue that begs you to skip your creative work and the small voice that insists you show up anyway. It is the frustration that tempts you to send an angry text and the deeper wisdom that guides you to set the phone down and breathe. It is the social pressure to join in the complaint, the cynicism, the easy negativity, and the conscious decision to instead offer a word of grace or to simply remain silent. This is the crucible where character is forged. The hard part is not an obstacle on the path. It is the path itself. It is the friction that strengthens your resolve. Every time you choose the higher standard in the face of difficulty, you are not just accomplishing a task. You are performing a ritual of self-confirmation. You are telling yourself, in the most powerful language there is, the language of action, that you are trustworthy, that you can count on you. This builds a core of self-respect that is impervious to the shifting opinions of others or the temporary storms of circumstance. You become a citadel, not because you have no vulnerabilities, but because you have decided, brick by daily brick, what your walls are made of. So, what then is the practice? It begins with a ruthless and loving clarity. You must define your non-negotiables, not a long, punishing list of perfect behaviors, but a handful of core principles that are sacred to you. Is it integrity? Then define what that looks like in your speech, your work, your finances. Is it health? Then define the non-negotiable daily and weekly practices that honor it. Is it growth? Then define the commitment to learning, to being wrong, to stretching beyond your comfort zone. Write them down. These are your lines. Then you must become a vigilant guardian of the threshold. You will learn to recognize the seductive whisper of just this once for what it is, the siren call leading your future off course. In that moment, pause. Connect the immediate decision to the long-term trajectory. Ask not what is easier now, but what would the person I am becoming do? This simple question creates a space between impulse and action, a space where choice and freedom reside. And finally, you must learn the art of self-compassionate recommitment. You will not hold the line perfectly. There will be days you falter. The goal is not perfection, which is a brittle and unforgiving master, but fidelity. When you fail, do not use it as evidence to abandon your standards altogether. That is the second and greater failure. Instead, treat it as data. Acknowledge the slip with clear-eyed honesty, without drama or self-flagellation, and then with a quiet firmness recommit. Take the very next opportunity to make a choice that aligns with your standard. This is how you build resilience. This is how you teach yourself that a lapse is not a collapse. For in the end, the life you are living today is the sum total of all the standards you have held and all the ones you have let slide. Your future is not a distant country you will one day arrive at. It is being constructed in the workshop of your present moments with the materials of your daily choices. The quality of that future, its strength, its beauty, its integrity, will be a perfect reflection of the quality of the standards you keep today. So set them high, hold them dear, and when the wind blows and the ease of a lower road calls your name, remember who you are deciding to become. Hold the line, especially when it's hard, for it is in that very hardness that your future self is being sculpted, decision by decisive decision, into a form of unshakable grace and purpose.